Thank you everybody for joining us today. My name is Arathi Ramappa and I am the co-chair of the Miami Beach Chamber Technology Council, and my other co-chair is Omar. Today we're going to be talking about moving tech jobs to Miami Beach and why we should be doing this, and talking about the new financial incentives that the city is giving for creating tech jobs in Miami Beach. And I am excited about this conversation. Just to give you a little bit of background of myself, I am an executive coach. I coach individuals and entrepreneurs on emotional intelligence and strategy for their businesses, and they're managing their teams. And I also do corporate coaching on leadership, conflict management, collaboration, and the list goes on. It's a fun deal. But my background is I was a programmer 20 years ago in technology. I used to build out large financial applications, and then I had my own tech consulting company for 10 years. But I always wanted to help people in a more direct manner, and I started coaching. But I love technology, and that's why I wanted to become the co-chair of this council, because there's a lot of exciting things going on in Miami in the tech scene. And with that, I will let Omar, our co-chair, introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Omar Balsade. I'm with Vision Movies, a video production company based in Miami Beach. We're working with the chamber on many projects, and we work with small, medium, and large size businesses, helping them with branding videos, marketing videos, and social media training videos, and everything in between. And just because we're dealing with a lot of technology on our day-to-day, I'm very proud and excited to be a part of this council as well. And I'm looking forward to our discussion today, which is very exciting.
Okay, thank you, Omar. And what we usually do in the beginning, we're just going to go over our mission statement. We're going to go over a couple of events that are happening at the chamber, and then we are going to get into the conversation with our speakers, Rickelle Williams and Dax from Wix. One thing that we want to encourage everybody, these meetings are here. We're here to network. So please go into the chat, put in your information. And David is saying already probably put his information in, put in information and hit each other up. Let's keep these connections going after this meeting. So Enid, can you share the mission statement? Okay. So our mission statement is
you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was muted. Yes. The mission statement is to educate about and promote the benefits of technology by keeping Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce members informed of the latest technology developments impacting their businesses and the local community, to foster connections and communication with the tech ecosystem in Miami Beach and beyond. And I just want to say that Arathi and Omar do a fantastic job of keeping us abreast of all of these new things that are necessary for these initiatives. So thank you both.
Thank you, Enid. And Enid is the Chief Operating Officer for the Miami Beach Chamber. Thank you for being here today. So just a little bit before we begin our conversation, just wanted to let you know about some of the events coming up at the chamber. September 18th is our big gala, and you do not want to miss that. It is a fun event, but it's great for networking. There will be a lot of entertainment, and it is a great event. That's the one event that the chamber puts on that everybody goes to. So that is September 18th. In July, for the rest of July, we have our Tourism and Hospitality Council. That is Thursday, July 22nd. We have our weekly chamber chat with the mayor, and you can see that online on Facebook Live on Tuesdays from 9 to 9:30. We have a social media workshop coming up on July 28th. And then August usually, I just want to let everybody know, because there are a lot of new people. August is usually the month that our councils don't meet. We have about 10 or 11 different councils. So August, we have a few councils meeting, but that is not the type of event. There are 4 events showing for August, is because most people are on vacation that month, and that's the one month we don't have a lot of council meetings. But usually we have about 10 or 11 different councils meeting on a monthly basis. Okay, so with that, we're going to start off first. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk to Rickelle Williams, who works for Miami Beach and is the Economic Development Director for the city of Miami Beach. And she's going to talk about some new incentives that came out in March for creating tech jobs. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a Q&A, and please put any questions that you have in the chat. And then we will talk to Dax, who's representing WIX, who has offices here in Miami Beach. And just a little bit of the background, the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because I think most of you know, Miami has been, the hot topic right now is all of these tech companies relocating to Miami. Venture capital firms are coming down here. Everybody's coming. It's a big, the tech buzz, but Miami Beach largely hasn't been part of that conversation. And, a lot of people are talking about Wynwood, Brickell, downtown. So there are a lot of benefits to moving Miami Beach. And I think one thing that people do not know, and this is why I invited WIX, Dax from WIX to come, is that WIX, which is a major public company with global offices, has offices here in Miami Beach with over 300 people, I think. So, and they have over 200 million users that use WIX. So when we're talking about startups and tech, we have a major tech company in the world have offices located on Miami Beach. And I wanted to bring them in and talk about the benefits of being in Miami Beach. So first we will start off with Rickelle, and I'll just give a quick background and then she can go deeper into her background. So as I said, Rickelle is the Economic Development Director for Miami Beach. Before that, she was the executive director for Dania Beach Community Redevelopment Agency. And before that, she was the Economic Development Empowerment Manager at Miami-Dade County. She was also an adjunct faculty professor at Miami-Dade College School of Business. And the list goes on, but Rickelle, thank you for being here. And please give us a little bit of your background.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Arathi and Omer, and to the rest of this committee. I'm so pleased to be here to discuss a very important topic to the city of Miami Beach and to the larger Miami-Dade County region. I think that technology is something that is here to stay and is here to grow. I think what we've seen in the COVID era is that technology is a part of everything that we do, and it can be integrated in so many ways into our daily lives. And so just to give you a little bit more of my background, I will say that everything that I've done in my career has really led to this point of working in the city of Miami Beach as the Economic Development Director. I've had a lot of experience with business retention and attraction, as well as technical assistance, small business grants. And these are some of the things that we're working on right now in this city. I've also had a lot of experience with marketing, community development, working in low-income areas, providing assistance and opportunities for marginalized populations and groups. And I bring all of that experience to bear as I have been with the city now for almost a year. And I've really taken the time to observe and to really assess the landscape. And Miami Beach has so much potential to do so much more in the tech space. And that's what we are working toward right now. And, when folks say that, Miami Beach hasn't really been a part of the conversation, I think that Miami Beach has been, maybe in a more behind the scenes sort of way, but we have to remember that the Emerge Americas Conference, which is the largest tech convening in the area and in Central and South and the Caribbean, it's located right here in the city of Miami Beach. And that's something that we don't talk about very often, and we should highlight that so much more via partnerships and opportunities to really collaborate and engage. WIX, I was sharing earlier with Dax, there are some synergies, there are some exciting developments that could potentially be happening among tech firms that are already here in the city with the assistance of the city and through other agencies that want to see technology grow in the area. So I feel that everything that I am currently working on here at the city is to propel us forward to become more of a tech hub and to be recognized as such.
I thank you for mentioning Emerge, and you're right. Emerge is the biggest tech conference that we have in Miami, and it does bring people, from all over Latin America and all over the country and all over the world to it. So I definitely agree. I do. When you said that, I'm like, you're right. We have been around. We do have things going on. I think we just need to spread the word about it, right? So with that, I know that the city has been doing many things to, encourage tech. So can you talk about these new financial incentives that were created in March of this year?
Sure. So after several public discussions with the City Commission and essentially in our Finance and Economic Resiliency Committee, the City Commission has moved forward with two particular incentives to try to attract tech and financial services firms to the city. One of those incentives includes a expedited permitting and plan review incentive that would offer a 10 business day turnaround from the time that we receive a permit application to the point when a permit would be delivered to that potential tenant or that landlord for the build out of a space that would go to a financial services firm or tech firm. And we have seen several companies express interest in this incentive, because one of the things that we want to make sure that we are promoting in the city is that we're business friendly. We want to be able to assist you and to expedite your permit. We want to get you into your office space as quickly as possible. And one of the hurdles and challenges that have been expressed from the tech and financial services firms looking at Miami Beach is that they want to be able to get into a space quickly. And time is money, and so we recognize that. And this incentive would allow for these companies to get in quickly. The other incentive that the City Commission has approved is the Job Creation Incentive Program, which is a performance-based incentive that would offer up to $60,000 per year to tech or financial services companies or headquarters relocating or expanding within the city of Miami Beach. And so the minimum criteria includes the creation of 10 high-wage jobs over the first year and thereafter. And we're looking at this annual incentive for up to 4 years for new to market firms and for 3 years for existing firms that want to expand within the city. So we know that in this time of, Zoom and Teams and everything in between, we do have a lot of tech and financial services firms that don't necessarily want to add employees that are 100% in the city. And so we do allow for new employees or new jobs that are created to be partially virtual, because we understand that, COVID is still here and the way that we work is probably going to be different from here on out. So the Job Creation Incentive Program, it offers more of an incentive for more employees. So 10 is the minimum, but the more employees that you add, the more your incentive is going to be. We also allow for greater incentives for firms that locate in our North Beach area, which we are definitely trying to cultivate and promote as one of the areas of the city that needs investment and an infusion of business activity. We also want this incentive to really assist local residents. So if you're hiring local residents and folks that have gone to school at local institutions within the region, you would receive a greater level of incentive up to that $60,000 amount. So really the purpose here is not just to attract those tech and financial services firms to the city, but also to ensure that our existing workforce has opportunities for high wage jobs. And so that we have folks that are living in the city, working in the city, spending dollars in the city, infusing their resources into our other businesses and supporting local businesses. So that's just a little on that. And we have more information on that on our website. And I'll ask Amber Tarak, who is our Assistant Director of Economic Development. She's also on the call, and she'll be the primary point person for these incentives. She'll put the link in the chat so that everyone can access this information.
Okay. Yes, please do. I mean, you just gave us a lot of information. I didn't even know about, the permitting incentive, taking that you guys were doing that. But one thing that was interesting, I knew about the incentives for creating tech jobs here, and we have a couple of questions that I'm going to get to that are in the chat. But I didn't know that you had an incentive, to hire people that are locally. So that makes me happy to hear about that. So I just want to, and thank you, Amber put all of these resources, the link to the resources in the chat right now. So one of the questions coming in is, what are the question comes from Paolo, what are the requirements for the employee to be under the stimulus umbrella? And are the incentives per year or just one shot?
The requirements, I think I went over them a little bit, so perhaps this question came in before my explanation, but this is an incentive that is annual. So for new to market, you could get this incentive for 4 years. So every single one of those 4 years, you could receive up to $60,000. For an expanding company, it would be for 3 years. So it would be $60,000 for each of those 3 years. The requirements, we're looking for companies that are coming, if you're new to market, you're coming from outside of the city of Miami Beach and you're relocating to the city. If you are relocating and you're just, you're not adding new jobs to the city of Miami Beach, that would not be considered as job creation. If you're relocating and it's just one person coming to set up shop and everyone in your office is still virtual permanently, in New York or Connecticut or wherever, you would not be able to qualify. So the city will be looking at your payroll records on an annual basis to see that the jobs are actually created and sustained over that period of time in which the request for the incentive is being made.
Okay, perfect. And is it any type of specific job that you're looking at, that they have to be tech jobs, or like, is there any, are there any specific requirements for the type of jobs that are being created?
So we're looking for those 10 jobs to average 125% of the average wages for Miami-Dade County or the state of Florida, whichever one is higher. And that changes a little from year to year. We're looking at roughly $68,000 to $72,000 on average for those jobs. So that's what we're looking for. So if you had 5 jobs that were at the $60,000 mark, and you had another 5 jobs that were at the $100,000 mark, we would take the average of those 10 jobs to determine the eligibility. You're on mute, I'm sorry.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I have a couple of questions. I want to throw it out there. Omer, do you have any questions that you want to ask? We had a couple of questions that just about the tech community. I want to.
Sure, we can, but you can go ahead.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
So, with this, how do you see, with this current tech wave coming in, how do you see Miami Beach playing a part in this, outside of just, outside of companies relocating? How do you see Miami Beach like growing into maybe technology and innovation? We're so focused on tourism and real estate. And I'm just wondering, what is the direction the city wants to take when it comes to technology and innovation and being part of this tech wave outside of just people relocating here?
Certainly, and that's a very good question, and it's one that we are tackling. I think one of the biggest steps that we can make to be more a part of the tech conversation is to really be engaged and to be in continuous discussion and conversation and collaboration with folks that are in the tech scene. I mean, for example, Miami Tech Week happened and Miami Beach wasn't a key player, wasn't a key participant. And that's something that we are actively seeking to change going forward. We want to be a part of the conversation at a higher level. One of the things that we have planned for going forward is a public relations and marketing effort that would be specific to business attraction and recruitment surrounding tech and financial services. So to be able to get the word out and to be able to demonstrate our commitment to these industries flourishing here in the city of Miami Beach.
Okay, great. And, you know, when you're talking about, you know, getting the word out and, you know, becoming more a part of the conversation, and you did bring that up, like with, you know, Miami Tech Week, it just came upon us, and, you know, not many people from Miami Beach were involved. Is there anything like even going further of like maybe creating a technology and innovation task force within the city or type of committee to tackle these issues and to see where we want to go, and like maybe creating a plan of what we want to do in Miami Beach when it comes to that?
Sure, and there have been some preliminary discussions surrounding that. Our city commission is very interested in the development of a leadership advisory council that would consist of industry leaders in our targeted industries in those spaces. And so that's something that we are considering very carefully, keeping in mind the type of commitment that we would want to require. And there are other groups that have been formed, and we want to make sure that we are not reinventing the wheel, but actually complementing, what's already happening. So many of the, the CEOs that currently live in the city of Miami Beach, but may have offices elsewhere, or they live and work here, have been a part of some of the local groups that are pushing to make Miami-Dade County, City of Miami Beach, the tech hub that we are, reading about in the news and participating in. So we want to make sure that we are not conflicting, but we're complementary. And I do think that there's room for growth in that area where we can utilize our existing assets, which are those industry leaders who are making decisions, who are, influencing what's happening. And I think that we could definitely take advantage of those opportunities.
Yes. And in one point you said is that a lot of the people that are making these decisions, the industry leaders, they might have offices somewhere in Miami, in other areas of Miami, but they live on Miami Beach, right? And a lot of people that are really relocating here, they might be opening offices in Wynwood or Brickell, but they want to live in Miami Beach. So we do have access to these people. And I think that's a great point that that we could, that leadership, advisory council, bringing in those type of people. And like you said, making it complementary and working with, the city of Miami and in all the different areas and seeing what we can do. Because again, like you said, we have a lot of access. If we want to start putting on conferences, I heard different things about this crypto conference that was downtown, but we have the convention center and eMerge, like you mentioned, a huge conference. We can be hosting these events because we have the best places right now to host these type of conferences. Okay, before we get to Dax, I want to open it up to see if there are any questions for Rickelle. We will have some questions at the end, but right now, since we are talking about this, about these incentives, does anybody have any questions? If you do, you can raise your hand. Does anybody? Let me see if there's anything in the chat.
And if there are no questions, I'd like to add a few other elements to the discussion.
Can I just, hi, I don't see where you can raise your hand, so maybe that's why I don't see it anywhere. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Listen, and I'm not going to go too long. And this is the first time I've been to your tech council.
Okay.
Really interesting. And basically I'm here because of Rickelle. I just want to tell you that her leadership in this department has been so needed with the city of Miami Beach. What I am seeing coming out of the Department of Economic Development for the city of Miami Beach, Tamara, I know, is new, and I've worked with her recently, but it's the chamber has worked really hard to lobby the city to put in some real leadership with economic development for years. And I am just so enthusiastic, and I'm so appreciative. And the fact that she has shown true leadership with really out of the box thinking and coming with her experience is so badly needed. And again, I want to tell you, as a chamber, we have lobbied for leadership in this department for years now. So just welcome to Miami Beach again, Rickelle. It's been such a pleasure to work with you. I'm going through the website now, and the update to the Economic Development Department and all of the different advantages that you have been able to implement was so badly needed in this city. And as a chamber, economic development is the key role that we need to liaison with at the city. And I just wanted to tell you how really grateful I am that you're working with us.
Wow, Ceci, thank you so much. I had no idea that you felt that way, and it's so awesome to hear. I would love to continue to work with the chamber and with you and your other roles throughout the city. And so thank you so much for sharing that. And I did want to add to the discussion, though, that one of the things that our department is actively working on is increasing the inventory of Class A office space in the city. It is very crucial to the conversation about business recruitment and attraction. We get questions all the time about where there are new spaces, how much space is available. And that's not to say that office inventory is the end all be all, because along with those questions about office space, we get questions about how many restaurants are within walking distance from these spaces, how many gyms, how many schools, how many parks. So it's really a holistic type of activity when we're talking about business attraction, because these decision makers, they think about everything that would impact them and their families as well as their employees. So the city continues to invest in quality of life improvements, in public safety, in resilience, in our schools, especially our public schools, and providing a lot of additional support to our public schools. So we really do have to continue supporting our hospitality and tourism industry, because at the end of the day, that's part of what makes Miami Beach so special.
So I have my hand up now because I think this is the perfect time to interject. So Ceci, thank you very, very much for your input, because we're presenting tomorrow at her event to talk about technology. So this is a perfect segue. I'm glad that Ceci decided to sit in and learn some stuff and get some more information. So it's critical. So Rickelle, welcome as well. I'm looking forward to having you join us tomorrow on our technology side of how we're going to help the businesses grow from that end and protect their data. So I know it's a cheap plug for the Miami Beach Chamber and our thing, but I wanted to take advantage of that to interject some of the other things that are going on. I think it's critical, though, that as we look to bring more businesses into the Miami Beach area or even into South Florida, because again, my end goal coming from the West Coast and saying, okay, how do we get to be the new technology hub of the East? And I'm not talking about the East Coast, I'm talking the Southeast, because we got so much going on. So I'm gonna shut my mouth for now. I'll definitely do a one-on-one with you, Rickelle, and I'm gonna let you guys take over so Dax can come in and speak on what he has to speak on. So
thank you, David. Now, David,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna put my hand down right now. So Ceci, in the corner there where it says reactions, that's where you can put your hand up.
Thank you, David. David is with Land Infotech. They are going to be talking about risk assessment in the tourism and hospitality industry for Ceci's council, Ceci is the chair of the Tourism Council, and you should definitely go to that event. But I just want to talk about, thank you, Ceci, for joining us. She's the head of the Ocean Drive what's the full name?
Just the Ocean Drive Association.
Ocean Drive Association. So I would just say Ceci is a leader on Miami Beach for many, many, many years. And her words about Rickelle ring true. So if anybody knows what she's talking about when it comes to lobbying the city, it's Ceci. And Rickelle, I just want to say one thing that I was really excited about was that, and the reason why I wanted to have you speak was because you were so quick to create these incentives for creating jobs, and it happened in March when all of this was going on, and everybody's talking about Miami. You created incentives, your department created these incentives to create jobs. And that's why I wanted you to be here, because not a lot of people knew about it. So we need to let people know all of the things that you said. I didn't know about the permitting, so there are a lot of things. And you do bring up a really great point about tourism and hospitality, because people are moving here. I honestly believe this is one of the most walkable places in Miami, and you have restaurants, you have gyms all over the place. You have everything that a family would want to do, and in this area. So it is a great place to open up and bring your families to and live. That's why everybody lives here. They will open up in other places, but if you can just walk to work. So I think that you're so right. Like imagining this, bringing more innovation in tech, because we do have tech here. And that's when we're going to talk to Dax, and combining it with tourism and real estate. I think that, who knows what will happen. It just could only be great. So with that, I want to introduce Dax. Dax Pedraza. Did I say your last name right?
You said it right.
Okay. He is the head of operations for Wix here our operations manager for Wix here in Miami. And I think most people have heard of Wix. It is what you use to create websites. They have over 200 million users, and they have offices of over 300 in Miami Beach that have over 300 employees. So, one thing is that most people don't know that this large company, you were talking about startups, here's a global public company that has offices on Miami Beach. So with that, Dax, give us a little bit of your background, and then you can talk about, a little bit about Wix, and then we'll get into the questions.
Sure. So first, thank you for having me. I think, and everything Rickelle said earlier, it's been very valuable to understand all the incentives that are available. I don't think, we actually sometimes know everything that is available to us. As far as my background, so I'm born and raised in Miami. I've been a part of starting, 2 small businesses from scratch. I've also been a part of working in small businesses. Typically, I've done, kind of internal business operations. I've worked at FIU as well, where I did operations, events, facilities, and tech has always kind of intrigued me, throughout my life. And then, never did I think I would kind of get the opportunity to be here working for Wix. And then, kind of one day, Wix just started having a presence here in Miami, and I've been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to join Wix and be part of the growth that we've seen over the last few years. So that's kind of my background. I've went to school down here as well. I have a degree in psychology from the University of Miami and an MBA from FIU. So I am definitely Miami through and through.
Yes, you are. I love it. You're UM and FIU. So I love it. Anna Maria wrote 305. Exactly. So, one thing I just wanted to start off the conversation here, like what made, Wix decide to open up offices out of all the places, in Miami? They chose Miami, but they chose Miami Beach. And what were the benefits that they found from having offices here?
Sure. So I think, I want to kind of go back a little bit to when we started looking for offices. When I came on board, we were already mid-search, and we looked at all kind of the traditional areas, some of them that you've mentioned. We looked at Wynwood. We were currently in Brickell. We had a small, a little under 5,000 square feet in Brickell, but it was about a 33 story building. And when we're looking for office space, you know, obviously the first thing that kind of attracted us is the traditional allure of Miami Beach, right? You go to Miami Beach, you see everything on TV, you read about it, and, you know, everybody loves that. But one of the other things that we wanted to make sure when looking for office space is, you know, how it tied into our culture and how kind of our employees could interact not only with the space itself, but with the surrounding areas. You know, so we were looking for a building, you know, whose physical characteristics spoke to us. You know, little things like in our old building in Brickell, it was 33 stories. If we wanted to go down, you know, to walk around, go to a restaurant, you have to go down 33, you know, 33 stories in an elevator. It may stop a lot, you know, and then all those little things kind of add up when you're making these decisions and how to look for office space. So we found this building, the Lincoln, which is right next to Lincoln Road, and it's a 6-story building. And we are, you know, we have all of the 6th floor, part of the 4th floor, and just the experience, the employee experience, kind of going to the office, getting to the office, getting in and out of the office, and really enjoying the surrounding area is, you know, they're things we took into consideration. And then in addition to that, kind of the outside surrounding environment really spoke to our value, really spoke to our culture. It's an atmosphere that fosters kind of, you know, collaboration, creativity, and a bunch of other things. So it really helps us transition what we're trying to achieve inside of the office. We could also help achieve outside of the office. And we see a lot of these synergies between different employees, you know, lifelong friendships start to be formed as a result of just bringing everything together, not only within the office, but the surrounding area.
You make some really great points there, because I wouldn't even have thought like 33 stories. That is annoying to get down and then to go do something. But thank you for that. So, and how long have you been on Miami Beach? When did you open up the offices here?
So we officially moved in, it was mid-January 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, we started our build out. I want to say it was August 2017, maybe a little bit before then. And then, you know, then we got in there, and it was, you know, a relief for everyone, because we definitely needed the space at the time really bad.
Okay. And so do you know how much have you grown from 2018? Because I know this past year, you know, you have been growing, you know, hiring. So can you tell us about how you've grown and how you've, you know, how have expanded with your employees in the past couple of years?
Sure. So when we started, when we were first looking for the office space, you know, we were primarily a, you know, customer support center, customer care, we call it. And we were, I don't have the exact number, but I want to say it's around 80 or 90 employees when we were moving into the Miami Beach office.
Mm-hmm.
You know, over the years, we've really kind of blown up and expanded, not only in the number of employees, but the types of departments we have. So, you know, we've seen other departments come in, such as, you know, account managers, you know, sales, all different types of groups that when we were initially building out, we didn't expect to have those here. So we've seen a lot of changes that have been great for the company. And that's kind of how we've expanded. And part of that expansion was not only just filling out our 6th floor, but it was also taking over part of the 4th floor. And you know, it's been great for us. I think what one of the main things that we, you know, try to do when looking to expand is, and being on Miami Beach, is we're seeing all of the, you know, all diverse, different types of people, different types of talent, and that's what we hope to attract. And it's, you know, Miami Beach, South Florida in general, like, it's the culture and the diverse group of people help us attract these employees that help speak to, you know, all of our users and help them connect with all different types of users that we have and help out.
Oh, so you're saying that not only does being in Miami Beach and where you're located help attract a diverse workforce, and it's easy to attract people to want to come work for you, but you're also saying that the diversity of Miami Beach helps them also be able to deal with the diversity of your customer base.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's really
exactly.
interesting. You know, I didn't even think about that piece of it, right? So not only, so some of the benefits is not only do they want to come work here, but from working here, they're becoming, you know, maybe more culturally diverse, which helps them, again, work with your users. Okay, that's really interesting. That's a great point. So tell me, what do your employees love about working here and, you know, working in your offices in Miami Beach?
So I think, one of the cool things about our office, and this is something that caught me completely off guard as well, because I came from working at a university, working in traditional offices, and I think it's the way the office is set up. It's really set up in an open environment. It's very collaborative. We, not only does it really foster like creativity for many groups, but it's also a fun place to be. We enjoy kind of hanging out there after the day ends. A lot of people stay and hang out, which is great. And that speaks back to what I was saying. It's these bonds are formed, these synergies are formed. That's greater than just what happens in the working environment. And I think that's what everybody loves about it. That's what gets them up. That's what keeps them coming to work, is they enjoy their time at work. And it's not only being in the office, but it's also getting outside of the office. We have, different groups. They go out all the time. They walk Lincoln Road. It's right there for us. And, as many of you may know, Lincoln Road has all different types of restaurants, bars, attractions. It's just a cool kind of atmosphere that we can enjoy. And even some of we have 3 offsite parties that we do just to kind of, build, more chemistry between everybody. And so everybody just kind of have fun. We've also done some events on Miami Beach as well in different venues around the beach. One of them being Nikki Beach. We did a holiday party. We've also done a holiday party at Temple House, which is a few blocks from the office.
Perfect. Yeah, I would say, I would think that, going to lunch, being able to go to lunch on Lincoln Road, it's easy. It takes 2 seconds to get there is
Yeah.
definitely fun. Omer, did you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask, so you were talking about hiring and bringing people from outside. I wanted to ask about local hires. Do you find any talent here? And if so, does it really benefit the city of Miami Beach as well? So, by bringing tech companies, can we really create jobs?
Sure. So when we first started hiring here, when we were part of that initial growth spurt, I think what attracted us to Miami Beach and just hiring locally, there wasn't a huge tech landscape at that time. And so what we looked for wasn't necessarily, candidates that had tech experience, because there wasn't a lot of that, but we looked for candidates that had a lot of, customer facing roles, people that care about customer service. And what we found is, once you bring them in and you put them in the culture of Wix, you put them in the training and you put them in the development, they learn things, they learn the product, they learn how to operate within a tech company. And, a lot of people that started as customer care agents, they've gone on to other roles and they've, transitioned to other roles within Wix. So I think, we weren't necessarily looking for people that had tech experience, but we've developed that within bringing them in, training them, developing them. And, as a result, we prepare them to do other roles and whatever it is that, they may go or explore within the company. So I know traditionally, when you think of tech companies, think of R&D, coding and things like that. But, we don't have that here. That a lot of that's in our headquarters. And that's kind of how we approach the hiring and bringing in the talent here. Did I answer your question? I hope.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that actually, you're taking the benefit of a hospitality-based city and turning it into tech. So this is a great answer.
And we have a question here, because I think this is a big question. So you were first looking, for customer service, but then a lot of them grew into other tech roles, right? The idea though, of finding talent, tech talent here locally, what have you, when you have, because I know it's not only customer service, how has that been for you to find actual tech talent though locally that had the skills before and developing with them in the company?
So I definitely would defer to our HR department for a more detailed answer on this, but I think this goes back to like when we were first looking, what we were looking for was just, candidates that fit the culture, that were of the right mindset, that cared about customer service. And I think once you drop them into, the culture and everything that is Wix, they develop kind of the knack for being tech talent. When we first started here, and this is before my time, like I said, there wasn't a lot of tech companies here. So it was hard to pull from an actual tech talent pool. However, as we've seen the tech landscape kind of shift here to Miami, with companies coming down here, a lot of just candidates in general that have moved down here from San Francisco, New York, and other places, we're starting to see an actual tech talent pool grow here. So I think it's a little bit of both. It's training and developing employees within the office and within Wix, and for other tech companies within those companies. And it's also just been a result of having people move here because of how Miami has increased in being, an attraction for tech talent.
Yeah, I think you make a great point about training and developing, right? I mean, everybody can have skills, but you're going to have to train them in train them and help them develop into what you need for that product. So I will add to that, the conversation about tech talent has been a big one in Miami. Do we have it? And I think that, as you've been saying, is you've seen it grown. And I think not only do we have a lot of people, I mean, Miami is made up of so many people who have moved here that are not from here. And so we have attracted a lot of tech talent through the last 10 years here, and people moving here. But we also have been developing, between at UM and FIU, there has been a big push, and there is a lot of talent now coming out, especially this ecosystem that has been built over the last, 10 years. There has been a push for STEM in schools, and then, in college, people are really in those fields, in the tech field. So there are a lot of things going on where people, and then there's not only within the colleges, there are, places like Wynwood Code Academy. There are a lot of different academies here, and people are really, it's been growing because people want to be in that industry and learn these skills. So there's a lot coming out of Miami, and I would, I do debate with a lot of people on this because I think there is a lot of talent here in Miami. And one thing is, I think most people didn't know about the talent because the ecosystem wasn't here until the last 10 years. There were a lot. I was here 20 years ago as a programmer working at a large financial company, and there were a lot of people like me, but there was an ecosystem where we were all hanging out together. So I think a lot of people don't know that there are those people out here. And I was living on Miami Beach, and I was a programmer of financial, applications 20 years ago. And there was a lot of us, but we weren't going to tech meetups and things like that. So it's there. We just need to access those people and get to them. And again, all of these companies, these financial companies, they have to have some tech people doing their stuff, because everything runs on tech. So there are tech people here in this city. Okay.
Well, to your point on tech, I mean, we actually, funny enough, to show you how tech has grown here, we recently acquired a company called Speedy Tab that we've kind of folded them into our Wix Restaurants program, and they are from here in Miami. So they some of their employees are now working in our Miami office, and they've been great, and that's acquiring them has been a huge asset for us. So
that's really interesting. So you acquired a startup. So this public company acquired a tech startup here in Miami.
Yes.
That's something I haven't heard about, and that's pretty cool. I like hearing that. Okay, so that we're talking about the ecosystem. Since you are part of the tech community, how can we build this tech ecosystem in Miami Beach, and what do you think needs to change or needs to happen?
I obviously, in addition to what I talked about on training and development, I think really anything that we can get creative with in terms of, putting together events, networking, having partnerships with different universities, attracting investments to the city, which we've started to see happening, to help anybody that may have some great ideas in these universities, or anyone in general, to help those ideas get off the ground. I think, coming together and just finding creative ways to be innovative with startups, people that want to be a startup, that just have an idea, to help them get off the ground. I think doing all of that will help the ecosystem. Also offering a mentorship program, maybe allowing people that want to learn about tech come in, and bring them into our businesses, to the different tech companies that are across here in Miami Beach and in South Florida.
Okay, thank you. And one thing that popped up, I agree with you, like on creating those different affiliations and bringing everybody together. I would encourage startups too, if they're, the industries that are here. We have not only do we have the tourism and the hospitality industry and real estate, but, if there are startups that are catering to those industries, they definitely should be here. But part of the conversation and bringing those, startups and those industries together, and having those conversations. So, we have 8 minutes left, and I really want to open it up to everybody on the Zoom. So who has a question for Rickelle or Dax right now? Let's see here. If you can raise your hand on the reactions. No, everybody is quiet today.
Well, no, I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak.
Okay.
So I missed Dak in the beginning. Where are you based out of? I know you're here in Miami. Are you headquartered in Miami as well?
No, we are actually headquartered in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Okay, got it.
But our Miami office is our biggest office in the U.S.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting thing. Fun fact, the Miami office is the biggest office. And out of how many, where are you located in the rest of the U.S.?
So we have physical offices in New York, Denver, a small office in Phoenix, LA, and San Francisco. And then we are in the process of looking at office space, but we do have operations in Cedar Rapids and Austin, Texas.
So Dak, just to give you a shout out for your office in Tel Aviv, we do a lot of work with cybersecurity and hackers, and they are good at stopping a lot of the hacks. So I want to give my boys up in Israel some very good credibility for us, and thank you for keeping our country safe.
Thank you, David. One thing I just want to mention what you said, out of all those offices that you have, New York, LA, San Francisco, Denver, Miami Beach is the largest, where your largest offices are. So that is something really to be said. Christine, you have a question.
Yes, hi. So hi, Ceci. I always, honestly, I've said this before and I keep repeating myself. I have, as most of you know, I belong to a lot of chambers, and the Miami Beach Chamber is by far the best at touching upon the most interesting topics, having some of the best speakers. And this goes to Rickelle. Rickelle, I'm part of the Coral Gables Chamber and other chambers in Florida. I was just on the website right now when I heard Ceci make those amazing comments. Usually when Ceci opens her mouth, I know that something amazing is going to come out of it. So right away I went on the website and I started doing the same thing that she did, because it's very important to learn. I would want to know, how are you teaching other chambers here in South Florida to do the same? Because I find, just like Ceci, that you've taken this from here to there. And I would love it to see how you can teach these skills. What are you doing to go out to the different chambers in Miami and help them take this to the next level?
And is this for me or for Arathi?
You, for you.
So I think one of the things that we actually could, make some leaps and bounds in is our collaboration with other chambers, because we have been meeting a lot with our local groups, our local chambers, our local business improvement districts, but we haven't gone that extra mile to connect with those that are outside of Miami Beach, beyond, you know, those county-wide agencies. So I really find value in the point that you brought up in your question. I don't have a very good answer because I think we could do better at that.
So what I would like to propose is that we can start maybe by contacting Mark, who heads the Coral Gables Chamber, because I really think that he would absorb you and learn. And that's where, and we're very close and involved also with Manny from the Doral Chamber. I think Doral does an amazing job also, such a great chamber. And maybe we can start the conversation. Arathi, maybe you can give me Rickelle's information later, privately, whatever, so we can start doing that. But I would love to be the conduit for that, because really I'm blown away by what I'm seeing. I mean, you really, I'm not, you took it from here to here, and everybody needs that right now. We need to up our level, you know, very, very impressive.
Thank you so much, Christine. And the contact is in the chat for anybody who's looking.
So Christine, I'm gonna steal some of your thunder. Rickelle, one of the reasons why I want to definitely reach out to you, I too am active in a lot of the chambers, but mainly up in Broward. And I happen to have the ear of the SVP, who happens to look like you and I, and definitely would love to have the opportunity to chat with us to make us more cohesive in working with the bigger community. So I don't want to I'll take this offline, but I just want to let you know we're starting that. And Christine, since you opened up your mouth and volunteered, we're going to take you up on that. And I'm going to put you on my team with Rickelle and a few other folks. And we're going to get this word out, because see, right now, not only the chambers are hurting, the businesses are hurting. And see, the chambers are like the bloodline to these businesses. And so we got to pump blood back into them. And the way to do that is to work collaboratively to make everybody understand, because guess what? There are a lot of businesses that are not joining chambers today because they don't have the budget. So we got to strategically figure out a way to keep all our businesses afloat and let everything move in. So again, I'm not here to steal the thunder. I have a tendency to suck up oxygen. So I'm gonna let everybody else take the breath, and so that they can breathe, and we'll make it happen. And I'll go on mute, and I apologize.
No, but I think your point is we're all in this together, right? And we're all part of these committees and chambers, and we all lift each other up. So when one is up, if we bring everybody, and that's not to say that the chambers here in Coral Gables, we're in Coral Gables. I'm not knocking anybody down. I want to make sure that everybody understands. I belong to 20 different committees and chambers. Everybody does something very, very well. Yeah. But this economic development is just a little higher up there, and we could really, I think the chambers around could really, and maybe what it is maybe organizing, whether through Zoom or in person. You know, guys, I'm more of an in person, but where we get the different executive directors from the chambers and the presidents of the chambers in one room. We get all 20 or 30 people and say, let's talk about this. What are we sharing? What are we not sharing when it comes to economic development? Boom. And then we start that way.
Christina, will talk to you about that, because I think that is a great idea. And I'll have to get your information. Can you put it in the chat? Okay.
If I can just jump in for one moment. Thank you, Arathi. Christine, thank you so much for saying that. Yes, I mean, all the chambers need to work together, and we definitely take all of the input from our members to find out how we can grow together. You know, no one entity has all the answers, and this is new for so many of us. So this, you know, coordination is fantastic, this collaboration. There are some chambers that get together, the Coalition of Chambers. I don't know if you've attended, you have, yes, right, the meetings. And so we do have that. And so I definitely think that this is a topic of conversation for us to continue to talk about this. We talk about so many other things, so absolutely this should be a priority. So thank you all for doing that.
Yeah, and then tomorrow you've got the digital aspect, which kind of goes with, you know, we've got a very important, well, I just forwarded that to 2 people that are CFOs that I'm like, you need to sign up for this. Okay, we need, and this is other information that we need to share. So it doesn't, I mean, we can include the economic development and talk about the technology side, and everything kind of molds together, but really we can start planning now and do it for the first or second week of September, where 30 chambers or whoever can come, and we have an open discussion about a million things. And I'd love to work with you guys to do that.
Okay, I don't mean to cut everybody off, but we're at past time, but we are going to take one question. Last question for Dax that just came in. Paolo, do you want to unmute yourself? You said you have, okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
sorry. Hello, so this is the last question. I was a little bit curious about this conversation from Dax. It was very interesting. And the question is about the environment. What do you find so exciting to be in Miami? And considering that you have different offices in the US, what do you think is the characteristics to be creative in Miami? What push the creativity in Miami that you can find there and you cannot find in other offices? I know it can sound a little bit tricky question, but sometimes when you are doing your work and this work is related to creativity, what do you think is the kind of differential feature that you can say we have that in Miami and not in other offices? Was curious about that because you have different offices in your company, so you have different locations. So was curious about that.
So I think it's a combination of things. So I think it's understanding the groups that are in certain offices, and then when designing the office, you're designing around a program that fits those groups. So the culture that we have here in Miami, the demographic, the people, they know Miami. Most of them know Miami. Some of them come from outside of Miami and moved here for the job. But I think it's different in every office. What fosters creativity in a New York office, or what fosters creativity in our San Francisco office, affects those people differently than how it impacts our employees here in Miami Beach. And I will say that part of it is how you design the office and design it around the uses and how the different groups will operate within the office. And part of it is, how I touched on just looking at the environment around the office and how that environment speaks to the culture. And then it's allowing the internal office culture to also exist outside of the office. And when you have something where collaboration can happen at all times, not just inside the office, but outside the office, I think that's what really brings a higher level of creativity with all of our employees. And it helps them work together better. It helps them, be more creative, and it helps them just have an overall better employee experience, waking up every day and going to work in Wix.
Thanks. I will say this one thing for me personally in Miami Beach, what I've seen, because I've lived in New York, and the difference with one thing I see with Miami and creativity is we do have a work hard, play hard mentality, as most cities do with creatives, but the play is a little bit different here, and it's fun, but it's very much of we can access it when we want, and we don't have to, and we can work when we want. So it's very like there's something going on all the time, and people might think, well, that makes people like distracted, but it's not. It's nice to know when you're working really hard that, what, I have play at any time that I want. If I want to go to the beach, if I want to go grab a drink, there's always going to be something going on that I have the ability to do that I don't have to be, I'm not going to be missing out on because there's going to be something tomorrow. So it is something that creates, an atmosphere of like, okay, you're not missing out on stuff. And then, the creativity, like Dax was saying, you have a lot of places around here. It might not be so structured as a tech ecosystem where you're going to all these meetups, but there's so much going on in Miami, and every area has its own, it has its own culture, and then you have a diverse culture within those areas. So you have access to Wynwood, to Brickell, to downtown, to Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, Little Haiti, Miami Beach. There's so many things here to do. I can't even keep up with it, but there's just culturally so many things to do that I don't think a lot of places have. I mean, yes, New York is culturally diverse and I've lived there and it's wonderful, but it's always go, go, go. And here you have like different areas that you can see and actually go into a different place and then chill out, you know, and have a good time. And I think that's a really good mix in Miami with, you know, people really hustle but they have that play, you know, around the corner that helps with creativity. Cause I'm a big creativity only will be spurred if you do have some downtime and playtime. So with that, I just want to say, Phil just wrote, I love being able to commute to work on a bicycle, walk or skateboard. There's an amazing option for restaurants and entertainment. We can leave the office and watch a movie walking distance. We can head to the beach or ride our bicycle at the beach on the sidewalk. Besides all the amazing weather year round, and we can't forget about getting colada almost in every quarter. That sums up Miami Beach really well. I would say that is the lifestyle, and that is what's amazing about it, because I feel all those things. Thank you, Phil. And with that, I think we will end our conversation today. I really appreciate everybody coming. Thank you for coming to the Miami Beach Chamber Tech Council. And thank you for our speakers, Rickelle and Dax. You're amazing.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. And I learned so much from Dax, so we'll be in touch.
We'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you.
Evening, Rafi.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Guys.
Bye.